5 affordable perfumes that smell super expensive. Now, we know a lot of niche perfumes can be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. We don't want to spend that much money. We want to spend sub 100, ideally sub $50. So we have a lot of really interesting fragrances in this list that are going to save you money, not break the bank. I'm excited to share this list with you very soon, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I tell you about these 5 super affordable fragrances that all smell incredibly expensive, you're not gonna break the bank, and you will smell like what you're wearing is worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars. People are gonna question the size of your bank account. I wanna start the video off first by saying that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, and of course, if you love smelling your best, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. It would really mean the world to me. It goes a long way and it's absolutely free. Thank you so much for supporting. I love you all from the bottom of my heart, really. So 5 affordable fragrances that smell incredibly expensive. Let's start things off with one for the gentleman. And this one is from the brand Einash. I know the bottle looks like a Xerjoff bottle. I think recently they repackaged their fragrances. This one is called Royal Noir Absolute. This smells like Creed's Absolute Aventus, which is a fragrance of which I have 2 bottles. This fragrance, you're gonna get the cardamom, the nutmeg, the pineapple. It's green, it's earthy. It is a huge compliment getter. And I love wearing this one. Of course, I also have Poseidon's Absolute Elixir by Dua, and I purchased another dupe of Absolute Aventus, which is on the way, and I'm waiting for that to come in the mail. I'm going to do a video on that one soon, but this is solid. It is highly inexpensive. Longevity is phenomenal. The presentation is very nice, albeit reductive, because it does look like a Xerjoff bottle, but I think it looks very classy, very elegant, and of course, I truly love this fragrance. For the price that you're going to pay, you don't have to spend 500 plus bucks for the original. You can get something that is quite close. I don't know if it's a carbon copy per se, but it is incredibly close to the original. Now, I mentioned the Dua brand, and let's go ahead and talk about one from the brand, Enigmatic Gem. Now, this is the brand's take on Uncut Gem by Frederic Malle. So you see, whenever I find one that I really love, like a niche perfume that I really love, I go out and I purchase the dupe. And sometimes I wear this in place of the original. Sometimes the dupe is not very good, so I kind of just, as a collector, I don't wear it, but I just put it on the shelf, and I may talk about it in a future video. In the case of this fragrance, yes, it opens up with that same bright, zingy, citrusy, zesty appeal. The bergamot, there's also angelica in here, which gives it a bit of like a floral take, but it's a bit like earthy as well. I was almost going to use the word culinary, but it doesn't smell culinary. I know that puts people in a certain mindset, but this is a beautiful fragrance from the Dua brand. And again, brought it super close to the original Maurice Roussel composition. I know a lot of people call this a niche Sauvage by Christian Dior, but it's unapologetically musky. He added this masculine component to the fragrance, and that was the whole concept behind the original. Maurice Roussel was chatting with Frederic Malle, and this is actually a scent that Maurice Roussel made for himself. His own personal scent, nobody else was wearing it, and I think Frederic Malle was like, no, I need that. I want to bottle that. And Maurice Roussel commercialized it a bit, and that's when they came out with Uncut Gem. We have another one by the Dua brand, and this one, let me get my bottle. It's actually inspired by a super expensive fragrance by Roja Parfum called Taif Oud. Taif Rose, an entry-level oud, very easy to wear, beautiful fragrance, my goodness. And of course, after I picked up this fragrance, I purchased this one. And this one is called Majestic Taif. The quality of the raw materials in here, absolutely superb, smells super expensive. And again, I own the original for all of these, right? So with doing that, I wanted to make sure that I also purchased an alternative that I can use in place of the original, especially if I'm just lounging around the house. I know I'm not going to run into anybody. I'm not going to leave the house at all. So, I want to enjoy the smell without necessarily feeling like I'm dipping into the original. I hope that makes sense. But, one thing that I always say is every day is a special occasion. So even if you have something that's very expensive, don't shelve it and wait for that one day out of the year where wear. You're gonna go to somebody's wedding and you're wearing it. Like, wear whenever you want. Life is too short. Tomorrow's never promised. Majestic Taif by the Dua brand is incredible. In the number 2 spot, again, I have the original of this one as well. And I also have many alternatives of this one. I don't wear this one personally because it is marketed for the ladies, but I just love the way that it smells. So, you know, I'm always gonna have a bottle of the original and some variation of it in my collection. And this one by Risala is called Thamin. Now, beautiful pink bottle. At this point, you can already guess what it's a clone of, right? Obviously, Rose Prick by Tom Ford. I'm kidding. This is a clone of Delina by Parfum de Marly. Rose, lychee, peony, Madagascan vanilla. Yeah. And they bring it so close to the original. And the price for this one is also very good. Magnetic cap. I was having some fun with this before. And it just smells so similar to Delina. The only drawback is that with Delina, the original, I get circa 7-8 hours. This one I get 5 or 6. But for the price that you're gonna pay, if you wouldn't mind having a tiny compromise on longevity, check this one out. The presentation, the smell, everything about it is quite solid, really good alternative to Delina. But the perfume that I'm gonna put in the number 1 spot has the gaudiest bottle. I'm so sorry. The bottle is so kitschy. It's so tacky. I think it looks kind of cool. And I know there are people out there that actually dig it. There are people who like it, but I will admit it's a bit tacky, but what are you going to do? So this fragrance is actually a hybrid between Erba Pura by Xerjoff and Valaya by Parfum de Marly. So it has that bright pear-like floral orange blossom vibe with that tropical fruity aesthetic that you're gonna get from Erba Pura. So if you can imagine a hybridization of those two fragrances, and it's a nice 50-50 balance, I would say. It's not overly fruity, it's not overly orange blossomy. It's actually just a nice blend right down the middle, and a straight balance between the two. And I cannot pick this one up from the cap because it will fall apart. I'm so sorry again for this bottle. I apologize on behalf of the brand. I had nothing to do with the presentation, but I have to apologize for the presentation. By Latafa, it's called Afif, and it has a couple of peacocks at the top of the bottle. But you know what? It's the juice inside that counts, right? You're not wearing the bottle around your neck. And the only thing that I don't like is that the cap comes off very easily. Like if you happen to have it at an angle, you cannot pick this one up from the cap. But again, the presentation is so elaborate for no reason at all, but the smell inside is amazing. If you want to smell super expensive and rich, and this does utilize a DNA that, because of that Valaya aspect of it, it's a bit feminine leaning. You know, there's also Amber Oud, I think is it Gold Edition by Al Haramain. That one smells like Erba Pura, right? This one is a bit more on the feminine side of things. So it's Erba Pura and Valaya. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you took something of value from today's episode. And of course, if you did, I would really appreciate it if you would consider supporting the channel by clicking subscribe, hitting the bell, and giving this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. It would mean so much to me. 5 affordable fragrances / perfumes that smell incredibly expensive. Thank you for watching. I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode. Bye.